Hey, GM, everyone. I'm so glad to see both the gentlemen again. Yesterday, we just had a Chinese space, right? In Mandarin Chinese and introducing ICN, the Impossible Cloud Network. And today we're going to do it again in English so our international audience can understand across platforms. And right now we're streaming on our Binance Live, and also we have our Twitter video on as well. And over here, hey everyone, I know you probably know me, right? I'm Moonlight, and I will be your host for today's event. We're very glad to invite Kai, based in Germany, right? And from the Impossible, ICN, right? Impossible Cloud. And we are going to talk about the ICN no sale coming soon. We also have Calvin from Impossible Finance, who were here yesterday, showcasing your Chinese language skills, right? That was quite impressive. Thank you so much for coming back again, everyone. And we are going to cover everything about the Impossible Cloud Network and ICN node, especially talking about decentralizing the future, right? Also, yesterday we just revealed the upcoming ICN no sale schedule. And today we would like to let everyone know more about it in English language. And let's first invite Kai to introduce yourself from Impossible Cloud Network. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much. Great for having you. Thanks for having me. So very briefly about my background, because I think it was influential, like how to build Impossible Cloud, how to start with it. I'm an entrepreneur at heart. I built a gaming company before. That was pretty big. So we had in Germany around 1,400 employees at the peak times. We had several 100 million of players all around the world. I have been several times in China as well. That was always super amazing. Several cities there. Remember very amazing visits to Shanghai. And of course, a large gamer community there as well, right? And over the time, we built this pretty big and then did a reverse merger to the NASDAQ. I've seen a lot there, capital markets and so forth. One thing that annoyed me very much was the bills that I had to pay for cloud services. So I probably paid 200 million US dollars to AWS. We had very close connections to very large tech companies all over the place, like mainly in the US, but also some in China, of course. And I admired how they built tech at scale, although it was super costly. And I always came to the conclusion, why not build something ourselves? Why not become one of the driving forces of building the next generation of the internet? But obviously, you cannot do this on your own. But what about if you invite a lot of people, incentivize a lot of people, and building this together? And that's essentially one of the strong super drivers, I think, of Web3, and why I believe this idea is so great. So Impossible Cloud is all about building a decentralized version of the cloud, a decentralized version of AWS or Alibaba's cloud, and doing this jointly with many, many people on the planet.
Wow, thank you so much, Kai, for the intro. And I knew cloud service is expensive, but I didn't know it costs that much. So I certainly need decentralized cloud service, and for everyone, right, to be able to use it with lower cost. And thank you for the intro. And next, we would like to invite Calvin from Impossible Finance to also introduce yourself. Thank you.
Yeah, I just want to clarify, we are two separate companies. I still haven't been to Germany yet, so still need to cross that off my bucket list, but really happy to have both Kai and Moonlight here today as well. In terms of Impossible, we definitely don't have experience in managing 1,400 people in our past companies, but we've had the chance to be able to be in this space now for myself and my co-founder here for, I think, more than eight years in crypto for both of us. So definitely not our first time seeing a lot of things in this space, but I do think that ICN has stood out to us in a lot of different ways, especially as I mentioned yesterday in the Chinese AMA about the illustrious Web2 experience. I think I actually forgot to mention the NASDAQ listing, Kai, so apologies. We might need to translate that part in Chinese to the audience later again as well. But that in terms of the experience, I think that's the beauty of Kai and the rest of his team, that he's been able to really embrace Web3 in a lot of ways that I wish more Web2 company experienced people would consider. To your point on AWS costs being very expensive, I can also confirm that during our time at Binance, employee costs and other things were not the most expensive line item on the budget. The most expensive thing was AWS. And in fact, to Kai's point about building relationships with AWS, some of my closest ex-Binance friends are actually people that we acqui-hired away from AWS or companies that got acquired by AWS that we brought these folks into Binance to help optimize our server side of things. And as I mentioned yesterday, one of the things that I have seen in this space a lot is on the staking and node-related side of things, which is, of course, why we're here today to discuss a bit more on the nodes. In fact, a lot of my teammates that work together build the nodes for all the blockchains that Binance supported back then were teammates that were from AWS as part of the aforementioned talent acquisition into Binance. So I do think that storage is something that behind the scenes, every product you use, whether it's a game, an exchange, or any of the things that we touch on a daily basis, I don't think we realize how much storage is a necessity, and it's only an ever-growing necessity. So I think Kai, I mentioned yesterday as well that clearly as we see more AI-generated content, more kind of ways for users to interact with stuff that's much more dynamic, storage demand is, I think, one of the most basic picks and shovels plays, where, to be honest, I'm not sure if we'll be able to find the best AI plays as an investor in the crypto space. But I can be confident seeing that a lot of the lower level DePIN work or the storage work that we see you guys are able to capture, those are opportunities that will have correlation to everything that the users are seeing, using, and trying out in the current market. And that's why we see you guys as both a team that's been there and done that, but most importantly now, a team that's embraced the Web3 culture, started saying GM to us in chats and sending us live updates in Telegram about new progress that we get. It's always exciting when we see a team that's so professional, but yet also so communicative in a Web3 way to be able to onboard. And that's one of the things that Impossible Finance, I need to clarify now, I can't just say Impossible Finance side, we really enjoyed in working as an advisor for Kai and the rest of his team over this year, and excited to see what else gets built.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Calvin, for adding the relationship between Impossible Finance and ICN, Impossible Cloud Network. And of course, we would like to circle back to Kai over here. Could you please go share more information about how does ICN make the cloud industry a better place? Thank you.
Yeah, sure. So what I mentioned in the beginning, I think this is ultimately super strong if you are able to build tech at scale in a Web3 way, like a lot of people contributing hardware networks. And probably most of the people know, maybe some don't, the largest compute network on Earth by far is Bitcoin, right? So in terms of computational power, this is orders of magnitude larger than anything that AWS, Google, or Alibaba has built, right? And if you're able to build on top of that professional enterprise-grade software, you can tackle $1 trillion market, or you can bring mass adoption to Web3. And this is ultimately our goal from the beginning. And I think there are many things going in the wrong direction. The internet is like complete oligopoly, dominated by just a handful of players all around the world. As mentioned before, I mean, I admire how they build tech. Also, the largest company in the States, I had very close relationship to Facebook, especially, and Google. Met Mark Zuckerberg once, also the CTO of Facebook. At the same time, also we interacted quite well with Tencent, Alibaba. I remember Baidu there. Also meetings with Shihu 360 and some other big names in the Chinese internet space back then. So I admire how they build tech, but at the same time, I think building this together in a decentralized way is the way to go. And ultimately, everybody is looking for the killer app, basically, in the Web3 space, right? So besides DeFi, which is pretty big, how can you build something, real-world use case, where you bring billions of people into Web3? And I think DePIN, and especially the cloud industry, is just made for this, right? And we focused from the very first day, when we started our project, on building the demand side. So by now we handle around 1 billion files being uploaded every second day into the system from regular Web2 enterprise customers. So I think as we speak today, we are the furthest ahead company or project in terms of mass adoption Web3. Right? It's still early days, but nevertheless, we have integrated a lot of the stuff, and all the enterprise customers, they pay in fiat, they pay in euros or dollars or whatever fiat money, and they use already today Web3 tech that is not operated by us, but tech that is operated by former Filecoin providers or other storage providers, other miners and so forth. And that's super great. I think that's the way to go. And we will just continue to build that service bigger and bigger. Obviously, again, not all on our own. And what Kelvin mentioned, maybe to double down on this, AI is just making this even more necessary. So there are many, many use cases out there where you need decentral infrastructure. And AI is also going into that direction. AI inference, for example, AI inference with real-time or private data or so, you need decentral infrastructure. It makes a lot more sense to compute the data where it's being generated. So not create data everywhere on the edge, on your smartphones, whatever, send it to a central location and then compute it there and send it back. Doesn't make sense. First principle thinking. So that's how CDNs got big and so forth. That's also one of the reasons why we started with storage. Storage is just one service, it's just the first service. It's super huge benefiting from AI because you need storage for everything. Also, what I mentioned, all the AI operations will come close to where the storage is in the end. And so that's already planned for 2025, going multi-service. And I'm super excited about this. I think the most important part that we did is really showcasing that we can onboard Web2 customers onto Web3 tech. And from here, I think the growth potential is unlimited.
Thank you so much, Kai, for letting us know about that. And friends, right now, I said we got over 700 live views right now. And everyone, be sure to go to Twitter X and give ICN Impossible Cloud Network a follow, and also follow Impossible Finance. Once again, just like our speaker says, they are two separate companies, two separate teams with similar names and with the same goal, right, to bring our Web3 space and our cloud service decentralized. Thank you so much, Kai, for more detail with us. And of course, we would like to know about why is there a no sell and from ICN, and also what our users could get from the no sell. Thank you.
So the way how I see this, the node sale, it's one very important part in decentralization. It's one way where every person on the planet basically can take part in the project, invest into the project, get rewarded by tokens that are coming out of the NFTs of the nodes, and contribute to the network. How that works, I mean, Kelvin is an expert on that. That's also a reason why we work together, because the Impossible Finance guys, great name, of course, Impossible Finance as Impossible Cloud, but I think we both make the impossible possible. I guess that's the origin of the name. And the way how it works, the node sale, essentially, you buy this license, and then you are able to either operate a node and get tokens for operating the node, or, which I think is super unique in our case, you can also use this NFT to delegate collateral into the network. In this case, also you help the network grow. You get an extra yield, so there's even some extra money. The details are all on the websites and so forth. And I think this is super unique because it essentially makes people able to invest into hardware, into growth, into AI, into the future of a decentralized cloud by contributing in the node sale.
Wow, that is really nice. Yeah, well, everyone could also be part of it, right? To contribute our cloud into decentralized, the way to decentralization, and also by joining cloud the no sell. That is definitely really interesting. Of course, well, over here we have a question regarding what is available for everyone to purchase and when will it start. Also about the price, that you might to share more information with us. on top of that, we know yesterday we talked about that there were whitelist spots, right, for certain users. So we would also like to let our English audience know about how can people get a whitelist spot from ICN. Thank you.
Yeah, so first of all, I think there are free notes, four notes, free notes available at the end of this space. So I think this is probably an interesting part as well, where people can get something. And then as well, there is the private whitelist sale happening just next week, December 2nd to December 4th. And just after that, the public note sale is happening. And you can get, I think, are other URLs out there for the people so they can inform themselves and get into the whitelist there. I think you need to hurry up quite a bit because tiers are getting sold out. And yeah, Kevin just sent it around. So the URL, but I think we can post it somewhere else. It's node.icn.global. Inform yourself there, and you will find all the needed information. The point is in the notes say basically the earlier you are, the better price you get basically.
Oh.
And so that's the reason why people should hurry up a little bit because otherwise if you come too late you have to pay more in order to participate.
Exactly, because there are different levels, different tiers, right? So the earlier, the better, friends. If you're interested in purchasing a ICN, it'll be part of the decentralized cloud community, right? Don't forget that coming soon. I remember yesterday we talked about December 5th, right? That's next week. So pay attention and follow ICN's official X. You won't miss a lot of the information over here. And how long will the sale be live? Also, yeah, how can someone, like, for example, getting a whitelist spot compared without whitelist spot? What's the difference between the two? Thank you.
Yeah, sure. So the public sale will be live for quite some time, a couple of weeks. But as I mentioned, most of the very cheap early tiers will be probably already be sold out in a couple of days or so. So I think in that case, you need to hurry up. The way how you can do it is on the URL that I mentioned, you need to connect your wallet. If you are buying below 10,000 US dollars worth of notes, KYC is not necessary. Above that, that's necessary. And then you can choose basically if you want to buy through Arbitrum or Base through a smart contract. And that's also what's great about this is all very transparent. You can see basically all the tiers that have been sold out already and what's remaining. There's also, I think, an intense FAQ if you have additional questions, how you can get into this. And yeah, maybe, I don't know if Calvin wants to add some parts to this.
Of course, that'll be great. Yeah, I see that we already have over 1,000 live audience watching. And friends, feel free to pose any questions. Microphone to Calvin from Impulsive Finance to add more additional information. Thank you.
The number went up once you said there's going to be 4 nodes free here, yeah?
Yeah.
But yeah, so I think to add on to what Kai said, I think obviously there will be a time element to this as this is a first come, first serve sale. There is still opportunities, I think, to get some whitelist allocations or to at least be notified to stay tuned when the sale starts. So users can actually start proceeding with KYC if they're looking to purchase more than $10,000 worth of allocation. And that KYC is already at the link that Kai mentioned before, node.icn.global. Is it .global? Sorry, I need to double check again.
Yes, that's correct.
Yes, icn.global. I think I can actually share my screen so that we can show it as well.
That would be great.
So that everyone's familiar, and we promise you we're not going to ask you for your ETH in DMs or any scams. This is a confirmed contract, a website address, so that everyone will be able to see this as well. And as you can see here, you'll be able to connect your wallet and go through the process, learn a little bit more as well about the project and some of their social medias, their progress, some more information about their team, so on and so forth. So a lot more details for you to be able to dive deeper, as well as to look at some of the FAQs. But of course, depending on the size that users are targeting, Each user can decide whether or not they will need to go on Base, where there's only going to be KYC purchasers, or Arbitrum, where payments will be accepted from non-KYC users for purchases under 10K. So yeah, excited to have more folks dive deeper into this. I think Moonlight, you asked as well about whitelists yesterday. So I think there will still be some ways to do some more things. So really appreciate, Moonlight, you always bringing together your community of users to come to these AMAs. I'm sure we'll be able to find some more ways to get some more whitelists.
Perfect. Thank you so much for letting us know about it. Everyone stay tuned. Perhaps pretty soon we're going to have a giveaway. The ICN knows why this spot for our Binance Live audience over here, right? So definitely, follow ICN and Impulsive Finance for more updates. Perhaps you could also get different weather spots from their side as well. Yeah, this is amazing. And of course, we wanted to ask about why should someone buy an ICN node? What can that do for us other than Kai previously letting us know about, right? Be part of the decentralized cloud community in the Web3 space. But are there any real use cases or benefits to buy the node? Thank you.
Yeah, essentially what will happen is we do the node sale now, and this is just the starting of decentralizing ownership. So there is the listing planned just shortly after in the Q1 next year. So around February is the listing planned of the ICNT, the token. And what will happen, obviously, is you can, with the rewards of the nodes that you get ICNT now, there is, of course, a good chance that you come into the project earlier and preferably at better conditions if you contribute now than if you join later, right? So if you join later, obviously, after the listing and so forth, it's a different situation maybe, and things have progressed. And usually in these cases, it is early contributors are rewarded more. This is how we plan to do this, which I think is very typical in the Web3 space anyways.
Wow, that is amazing. So friends, be sure to go to ICN's official website and take a look. So, and also if you want to buy more, you will need to verify your KYC as well. Once again, thank you so much, Kai, for all the information. Letting us to know about that. And we will also like to add another question. What is ICN's mission for this node sale? What result would you like to achieve? Thank you.
Yeah, so the mission overall is we want to build the decentralized cloud, as I mentioned, and it's just a starting point. The node sale is an inflection point. The listing is another inflection point, and the next one will be to go multi-service. Our customers are requesting this every day already, and it's really great to see actual enterprise software running on third-party nodes at scale in many locations already. Obviously, after the listing, there will be much more locations going live. So there's a big queue already of hardware providers, also in Asia. And I remember back from my days in the gaming space, you need to build infrastructure in many places if you really want to serve Asian customers as well, right? So usually people tend to start just in Singapore and try to serve everywhere out of Singapore. It's not going to work. Latency problems, all these kind of problems. You need to be in all these different places, right? China, inside, outside, like Hong Kong, outside or inside China directly, Japan, Korea, India, Southeast Asia. I think if you want to serve these locations, you need a decentral network which has lots of endpoints and hubs. And these will be also going live after the token listing. And what's nice about this is also that all the customers that can use the product already now and are just scaling, these business customers, as mentioned, they pay in fiat and in USD or euros or yuan or whatever, any other currency, fiat currency. And these currencies need to be translated on exchanges into the token. And with the token, then you can, on the protocol, reserve the capacity. So there is a built-in utility of the token, basically, which is super important and helpful for the tokenomics long term, driving up the project long term. And yeah, I'm really looking forward to see this all in action.
Nice. Thank you so much, Kai, for letting us know more about the mission for the ICN no sale. And we're going to start to answer our audience questions over here. The first one, right here, this is really interesting question. Our Binance audience asking, what type of equipment do they need in order to run an ICN node? Thank you.
I think we already have something in the FAQs. What our goal was in general to keep the specs very low, right? So I think a few details will also come additionally in the next couple of days. So essentially we want to keep the hardware specs pretty low. We're also being able to use several licenses and stack them into one hardware CPU, for example. So that's the idea, to keep the cost of running the hardware as low as possible. And then what I mentioned also, like the second option, everybody who buys an NFT license will have the option to use the NFT license either for running nodes or as this delegated collateral. You can always switch back and forth, also in the future, switch back and forth. And for the collateral, you don't have any hardware requirements. Basically, you just stake this collateral and you receive your earnings. It's pretty straightforward.
Wow, that is very nice. Thank you so much for answering this question. And we have, let me see, we have a lot of...
Sorry, Moonlight, I might interrupt you to add a little bit more, because I do think
course.
it's really important to make sure the users don't get scared about the node concept. I think I mentioned this on the AMA last night as well, but for the English audience, I think one of the things that we think is important is to see, more users be able to try to jump over some of the technical barriers in this space. Everyone likes to throw around buzzwords, wherever we can, but I think that the important part is to allow users to get a chance to see the tech up and close, to understand what's really being done here, but also at the same time make it so that users don't have to deal with all the headaches and hassles on operating every part of the node. We will also have node as a service delegated service providers that will help also give one-click user experiences to operate nodes if you don't know how to run a node yourself as well. Those structures will allow for more participants that might not be running nodes all by themselves, but can then instead pay for a service to operate it, but still provide decentralization to the network. So I'm very excited to have many options, such as EaseFlow, in the list of projects that can help with reducing the barriers to entry for users.
Nice. Thank you so much, Kevin, for the additional information. And over here, I see we also have people asking questions on Twitter or X over here. This is a good one from Nitaya. What is the expected cost for buying an ICN node, and are there any additional expenses for maintenance or upgrades? Thank you.
Yeah, so the licenses start from around, was it like $500 converted into ETH. The current list, I think, should be also online. Kevin, is it online, the list of the tiers and the pricing on the page? Otherwise, we'll post it there. So, and then it depends, of course, like in what tier you're buying. Like the later you buy, the higher the cost. And cost for running. So there is no additional cost coming from our side. Either you run the nodes on your behalf. If you choose a node as a service, there is some additional minimal cost required there. But if you run the nodes as a delegated collateral, which is also like a one-click solution, there is no additional cost that you have to expect. And so you only get the token as rewards in a certain vesting schedule, which is also accelerated. Maybe one thing to add, because I think it's also a very unique feature that we added. So the foundation that is giving out the tokens has the ability to mint a few extra tokens over the next 5 years. It's a limited amount, but there is some extra minting planned. But for node buyers, there is some kind of anti-dilution in a way, meaning if there's additional tokens being minted, there is the exact same part going to node buyers. So node buyers are not affected by additional minting of tokens, right? So I think that's super important. Basically, no inflation on the node buyer side. This is, by the way, only the case for node buyers. It's not the case for anybody else who gets tokens in the beginning, like investors, team, and whatever. They will all suffer from inflation. Node buyers don't.
Got it. Thank you so much for answering that question, because there are different tiers. So it's hard to say, oh, how much exactly will each of the buyers get, right? The price will be different. But once again, the earlier the better, because the earlier the lower cost. Yeah, like you could snap your node. And here's another one. We have, let me see. We have, okay, here's a movie fan. Interesting movie fan. Yeah, yesterday actually Calvin also mentioned about this project, right? Apparently this is a buyer from different node project that also interesting buying ICN's node. And yeah, just coincidentally that all were actually supported by Impossible Finance Service, right? So over here, we got a question. Are there any geographical or regulatory restrictions for node operators? And the person said, I think we cannot access it in the US, right?
Yes. So I think on the website here, KYC is unavailable for users from US or China. Though I do think on Arbitrum, there is the opportunity for some non-KYC users to purchase only for limited amounts below 10K.
Oh, okay. So it's not that if we buy below 10K, we don't have to do KYC, but it's actually, there's a certain limit amount of those type of node available, right?
No, I think you understood it correctly. That the purchases on Arbitrum, as of the terms of service, allow for purchases below 10K, but that if any users are looking to purchase more than 10K, they must be KYC'd.
Okay, got it. Thank you so much, Calvin, for letting us know about that. And of course, regulatory is really important, and we certainly wanted to follow all the rules across different countries. And even though we're in Web3, right, but we still have Web2 rules that we must obey. Thank you so much for answering that. And let's go to the next one. We have BTC to 1,000K. Oh, this is a good one. How will rewards for operating ICN's node be calculated? And what is the estimate or expected ROI? Thank you.
Kevin, do you want to take this?
I think not financial advice is the first thing that both of our legal teams at both Impossible Cloud Network and Impossible Finance will remind us. But I think it's relevant to share, some of the valuations of projects in the DePIN sector, which I think I mentioned last night with Moonlight as well. In general, it's something that we've realized that actually some of the leading players in this space, teams like Filecoin, Akash, and other great teams, they do have decent revenues. And I think that, in an era where everyone's talking about meme coins and everything else, I'd like to go counter-cyclical to bet on some of the teams that have the best fundamentals in the space, and that those teams that have solid revenues and fundamentals are trading in the billions of dollars of FDV. And that I think that sets a really great price floor or target for what we expect that a team like ICN, with its illustrious experience in Web2, can try to catch up to within the space. Kai, I think this is something that you and I have both had these investor conversations with, and this is definitely one of the benchmarking parts where, I think last night Sarah said that, ICN has a goal someday to replace or be at the caliber of AWS, right? And I think that obviously that's many more billions of FDV value if we could go and target AWS. But realistically, we do believe that ICN has the capability to return revenue as a protocol to the likes of some of the Web3 players that have already paved the way with regards to Web3 and storage. And as a result, we do see quite a few other teams at the plus 1 billion plus valuation. The first tier of the node sale will be in the low 100-ish range. I believe the exact numbers may vary slightly. And with the promo codes, obviously, I'd love if you guys use promo code IF for a discount during the sale too. But with all users that participate, you guys should be able to get an evaluation that leaves plenty of upside to reach some of the comparisons. A website that I quite like to compare to some of the other teams that have revenue is deepin.ninja. And I think that as we've seen many other teams start to really work hard on trying to build up their revenue sources, we are very confident that ICN is one of the best teams to back in the revenue first game.
Wow, that is certainly a good answer, right? And also, I believe our audience are very satisfied about this. Yes.
Maybe briefly to add to this, the site that Calvin just mentioned, I think is a great source, deepin.ninja. This is also something we refer to, and I think it's interesting also for the users to understand. So they track basically a lot of Deepin projects. They try to track all the space. Latest numbers, I think we're around like 3,000 Deepin projects. Total market cap of their tokens being around 120 billion. At the same time, all of these projects combined so far had only rough 20 million ARR, right? If we bring our revenues on chain with launching the token early next year, we will have a significant chunk out of that already from day one, right? So, and I think this is a very good indication where you can see what projects are really going in the direction of delivering ARR. Deepin Ninja also, like in the combination of showing these three numbers, indicates that, of course, everybody is expecting there is a correlation. The more actual revenue, ARR, annual recurring revenue, projects are going to achieve, there is some connection in terms of valuation of the project. So that's what at least everybody's expecting. And then to the moon, to the stars, as I mentioned, the vision, of course, the vision is much, much bigger as we target like $1 trillion market, and we think we can get a significant chunk here.
Wow, that is a lot. Yeah, that's a very great goal over here. And let's continue to check our audience questions. We have Hannah asking, are we running a real node, or is that a virtual node? And what happens if a node goes offline temporarily? Will operators face any penalties or reduce rewards? Thank you.
Yeah, maybe I'll jump in on this one, and I'll leave Kai for a couple more minutes before he has to go.
Sure.
I think obviously we hope that everyone's nodes are able to stay online. That will be necessary for you to earn rewards as part of the token emissions that go to node holders. That being said, at least to my knowledge, there's no heavy penalty per se. It's more an opportunity cost of not being live on the network will mean that you'll have to forego rewards, though the specifics of all the node details will also be found in all the FAQ on the docs as we prepare for the public sale, as well as guides on how users can safely run their nodes. And like I said before, there will be processes to try to make it easier and easier for users in case anyone is running a node themselves or is using any of the service providers.
That is amazing. Thank you so much. And we have reached to 3,000 live views over here. And I believe because yesterday we just had this session, right? Even though it's mainly in Chinese, but during the time we also speak a bit of English, right? So, and I believe that encourage a lot of audience to do research on ICN's nodes and the project. So I feel like today's questions are to a different level, right? More like targeting how they could really use it, and yeah, also quite I would say professional questions as well. Thank you so much, everyone, for tuning in for 2 days straight, right? And also asking questions. And I would like to ask Kai, before you go to your next event, do you have any other information that you would like to share with us we haven't covered yet? Thank you.
I think the most important points we have really covered. Just like for the people who tuned in later, maybe brief summary. I think it's a huge opportunity that the node sale currently just before the launch of the token early next year. We really appreciate everybody who wants to take part in this. Obviously, as this is a utility token, you have to provide some work running the nodes or providing collateral. I think it's nevertheless, we design it in a way, also with the help of Impossible Finance, as easy as possible. One click, run nodes as a service, is super easy to use. So even if you are not a technical expert, we very much think you can do it. Lots of help there, also documented on all the pages. And this is the project that really wants to bring mass adoption to Web3. We have done it before. We have built billions of revenue in the Web2 space, IPO to the NASDAQ. And now I think it is the time to build something jointly with many people around the globe and potentially dethrone the largest tech companies in the world together.
That's awesome. Thank you so much, Kai, for sharing the information to us. We could clearly see the vision, right, of ICN and to make it long-term project and also bring a lot of great products to our Web3 users. Once again, appreciate you spending time with us today and have a great rest of the day. We're going to continue to answer some live questions from our audience. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thanks for having me. Thanks, Calvin, as well. It was great talking to all of you, and amazing questions, and really looking forward and happy for everybody who wants to join the project. Thanks.
Thank you.
Thanks, Kai.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye. Okay, let's continue. Over here, we have a bunch of new questions coming in over here. I'm going to scroll down and up to find this. Okay, here is another one. So apparently we might have some audience just joining us, right? And doesn't really understand what it really means when we say decentralized network or decentralized cloud, because, well, apparently we're so familiar with AWS or Google Cloud, right? And Calvin, do you mind to answer this question? This is a very fundamental question, and we would like to share information with our audience over here. Right now, we got over 3.5 thousand, and of course, some people are curious about, right, why we need to switch to decentralized cloud. Thank you.
A new all-time high in listeners. In terms of what we've seen, I think this is a very important question, as you mentioned. Whether it is geopolitical risk, as everyone's seen with regards to services. I think I saw a statistic recently. I should double check exactly how much this stat is, because the number was so scary when I saw it. But actually, I'm curious, Moonlight, I'll put you on the spot and ask you a question.
Oh,
Do
sure.
you know what is the city or country or area that AWS has the most amount of servers in?
Oh my goodness. Well, for country-wise, I wanted to guess China because they are so huge. But China might not be AWS, right? Because they also have different services, from lots of Chinese companies.
Yes.
So must not be China. Oh my goodness. The US? Since AWS was
It is the US.
Okay.
Can you guess what city?
What city?
or
Oh my
area?
goodness.
I'll give you bonus points if you can guess the state.
Oh my goodness. That is not easy guess, but how about New York since I'm here?
Close. You're on the right coast, but it's not New York.
Oh, okay. So it's East Coast. Interesting, East Coast.
The developers in the audience will know. I'll give it away. It's Northern Virginia.
Interesting.
Northern Virginia data centers make up something around 40% of the entire world's internet consumption.
Wow.
So everybody in the world is using a heavy amount of AWS in the back end of their websites, and then every content that users are using is being routed to the places that have the most efficient data centers. It's a very complex kind of routing process of wanting to make sure that you serve users with a website that is hopefully as quick and responsive when a user opens it, right? So there's trade-offs of trying to operate data centers closer to where the user is versus where the big companies have set up some of their largest hubs of their data centers, because maybe they have electricity savings, they have costs of actually having to run the centers themselves, so on and so forth. And so obviously we don't want to have a case where the entire internet or the entirety of the world relies on basically one area of one state or one city to be able to support a lot of the web traffic. That being said, obviously this 40% number is actually one that is hard to exactly measure. I've seen different versions of this number as well, but I'll give another version of this, which is that as of a few years ago, I think this was 4 years ago, Amazon has spent more than $35 billion of buying infrastructure in, I think, those earlier years. And then I think in total, something like 50-some billion dollars that they have spent in the state of Virginia for buying hardware. So I think when I show you it in one particular state, I think you'll understand why we see the value in trying to decentralize these networks. Let's say that an earthquake happens, right, or whatever it might be. This is a very huge risk for the amount of compute power that exists around the world. And that for us, we think that it's really important, especially because the users of all internet are becoming increasingly global. We cannot build an internet infrastructure that's actually only US based. It must be global. So that a user, somewhere else around the world shouldn't be querying some data from, a server that's very far away from them. So the users of Africa, of LATAM, of Australia, whatever it might be, hopefully there should be better infrastructure in the future in a decentralized compute kind of environment, such that they can have a more efficient process to get the things that they want, right? Whether it's the games, as Kai mentioned, them building games before. Ultimately, no one wants to play a laggy game. No one wants to have a slow website, all of these things. And that we've built the internet around heavy web traffic to certain places rather than to create an environment that matches where the users are. So I think just like what we always say in crypto, whether it's doing meme coins or looking at infrastructure, we have to go where the users are. We cannot just build wherever we want to build. And I think that the whole thesis around DePIN, around trying to create networks on the technical level that match where the retail users are, not just where the big companies put their databases and their data centers. That's really important, I think, to build a user experience first technological stack.
Got it. Thank you so much. Wow, this is definitely really thorough answer. And I would not expect Northern Virginia would be a major node hub. But thank you. Wow, learning something every day from Kelvin. And let's take another question over here, because I know, Kelvin, you're also busy. And this one is also very good because we have a bonus audience asking, who are the primary users or beneficiaries of the ICN nodes? For example, if we run the node, right, who get benefit for like using the decentralized cloud service? Thank you.
Yeah, so I think this is also related to the revenue point that we discussed on with regards to DePIN.Ninja and some of these other DePIN projects. We think that the entire sector of AI and DePIN actually does need to require to put more revenue on chain to show the users the scale of what they can attain. So with regards to the users or the clients, everyone I think here is familiar with ChatGPT. Yes. And obviously the parent company behind the scenes, OpenAI, is a company that actually does a lot of business with many other companies, but that the retail users recognize it via the ChatGPT interface. We see that today ICN is definitely much more enterprise focused, so many people would label it as a B2B business. I think the hope is that by having the nodes and having more ways to show parts of this business with the retail users, as well as allow for regular users to participate in providing compute or providing a node service to support the compute in the network, we see this as very valuable to let users see the reality of the B2B business. Because Amazon Web Services, most retail users use, but they don't know they're using. They use it when they're opening Facebook, for example, or they use it when they're using Impossible's website, right? So in a way, a lot of the deep-in work or a lot of the data and storage things, users don't feel it when they are using it. They just end up having it be the thing that's serving them, and they have other dApps and other B2B clients that create the end demand of why a user needs this storage, right? I think that, for example, when I play a video game, right? Yeah, the video game actually needs to store thousands and thousands of player images and things like this that it has, and how can it render it properly for the user. But I'm not trying to like count file by file, like, oh, I need to have 100 files before I can play this level of a game, whatever, right? In reality, the game already makes all this abstracted behind the scenes. So that as a business, ICN is definitely focused first on trying to get the enterprise demand, which is something that they themselves have been one of the teams, as Kai mentioned today, of spending more than $200 million on AWS fees himself in his past companies. They realized that this was important for businesses to solve as a problem to scale, and that the users themselves this time around get to participate in the finance side of this entire network and building up this. Because, like I mentioned, if Amazon can spend $50 billion to buy hardware centers in Northern Virginia, it's not easy to compete on this. It requires a level of scale and distribution and connection that most teams never get to build in Web 2. So the hope is on the Web 3 level to be able to build, I think, interesting infrastructure where the users get to participate as well. But ultimately, the demand and the revenue driving elements of this business come mainly from other businesses that ICN is already sourcing themselves. So you can think of it as they are doing the BD work to sell this service, but together with you as a community, you're able to be a part of the financing of the entire network as a whole.
Wow, that is very nice. Thank you so much. Kevin, I feel like you know everything from marketing to tech. Yeah, the audience could ask any questions related to Node and you could just answer it flawlessly. That is amazing. Thank you so much. And also, you're using, I know you do your best to using simpler terms, right? To letting everyone to get it. That is great. Another question. Let's just do this very, very last one. Oh my goodness, I need to pick from so many different ones, right?
While you pick one, maybe I'll tell the audience a story. I think you mentioned something very important, which is keeping things simple.
Yes.
We know that the tech is not easy, right? And I think the scariest thing in crypto is that there are a lot of scams in the space. I think that's one of the things that I feel the most sad about, because there's so much cool potential when people are able to work together. Like, for example, I've only gotten to meet Kai once in Singapore. I've actually never met him before we even signed him as an advisor in person. I only got to do this digitally via call. But I think that's the beauty of internet first businesses and crypto first businesses, that you can build relationships with folks that you've never met in real life. And I think that in terms of trying to simplify things for the users, that's something that we spent a lot of time doing back at Binance, helping build up things like the Binance Academy, trying to explain things like what is proof of stake, right? Or what are nodes? So for us, it's been 5 years since we wrote some of these materials for Binance back then. So it's always a joy to be able to share these things to the users as much as we can and try and simplify every step of the way, because we are all there, right? I have to use a Chinese phrase, 交学费, pay tuition. Like, I think all of us have already paid that tuition, and we've spent that time, for those of us that have been in crypto long enough. And it's also our duty to share with the next wave of folks, especially with all these new narratives, whether it's AI, memes, DeepIn, even if it's chain abstraction, whatever. We will always have more and more new users coming into this space. And as the folks that have been in this space longer, it's definitely our job to try to help our friends and help our new friends understand, what is everything that we're looking at. So really appreciate that. I think, Moonlight, you've done the same for your community as well, to try to simplify things, explain and share. And I think that that's something that is a hallmark of a good community. So really appreciative as well of being able to be here. What's the last question for today?
Well, so difficult to pick. Oh my goodness. Yeah, but of course, let's do this one. For a long run, how long do each of the node holders like be expected to maintain the node? Is that going to be an ongoing project for many years to come? Thank you.
Yeah, so I think in ICN's design, their node is quite unique because there will be a vesting of tokens that is distributed out to node holders, but there will also be ways where the nodes will participate in the revenue side of this business in the long run. So we're quite excited for the long-term capabilities of this node as well. It will not be just limited to the value that you see today. And then more importantly, as more and more projects work with them as well, I think that ICN will be I think I mentioned this yesterday, the picks and shovels play that we see in the DePIN sector because storage is so necessary, so that there will be other ways, I think, to be able to work with other projects inside the ICN network. Just like we say, every company uses AWS, we hope that we can get to a much higher market penetration for ICN as well. And I think that will also bring more opportunities and partnerships and maybe an airdrop or two, not financial advice, but hopefully some more opportunities to collaborate with the rest of the ICN ecosystem.
Nice. Thank you so much, Calvin. Yeah, really, really appreciate you for a lot of detailed insight sharing with us from very fundamental questions, right? Or knowledge sharing, right? And then all the way to the next level. So I believe today are over 5,000 audience have a very truly complete understanding from about the ICN node, right? And we're definitely looking forward to next week. Everyone, get ready. And I actually we also have some comments, right? Like people saying, hey, Moonlight, we have been like watching your AMAs on Binance Live and involved in from Aether to Moonville and now ICN, right? And such a coincidence that Impossible Finance are all behind these. So you guys really have a good eye to pick great projects in the Web3 space. That is just amazing.
Thank you for the kind words. I think we can't do it without our own team, which is now 38 folks, as well as with the help of the community. I think our users and our team always try to learn from each other. I think we have a case actually where today the Thena, which just got listed on Binance, is a partner DEX that we've worked with in BNB chain for many years, and Impossible has been really proud to see their steady growth over these years in BNB chain too. And this deal, we were able to actually bring, I believe it was almost 1,000 of our users to be a part of their airdrop, and now today their token finally gets listed on Binance as well.
Right.
So I think it's always a learning experience, and just like I said about the sharing knowledge to each other, I think it's really powerful when our own community actually became some of the admins of the Thena channels because they thought they were learning so much from this product, and then obviously got some airdrops to be really happy today with this Binance listing, and vice versa.
I also got some. Yeah, I'm very happy too. Yes, because
maybe we need to do another space with them too.
Oh, that would be great. Let's do it. Yeah, because I also wrote a project introduction about Thena yesterday in Mandarin Chinese and posted on my X handle to and also.
Oh, you have to send it to me. I'll read it. I'll share with our team too.
Well,
are you able to read? Very happy.
Are you also able to read in Mandarin Chinese?
Yes.
Oh, wow, that's amazing. Thank you so much. Yeah, Gavin, if we could have an opportunity to having an AMA with Thena, that would be awesome because they are already listed on Binance, and I believe a lot of our audience all have their airdrops, right? Because we are BNB holders. That's a benefit. Amazing.
Yes. And I think all of the Binance Live holders must be quite excited about this airdrop as well.
Yes.
So I think it's a pretty cool experience, and it's a team that we've gotten to see to work for many years in the space. So, like you said, I really appreciate the kind words about the quality, but I really think that it's possible for us to learn together, whether it's from the community, yourself, folks are really trying to spend time to build a knowledge around what projects exist, what people are doing in the space. I think we always look forward to sharing notes and talking about ideas in the community. So to be able to see, thousands of our users be able to be a part of something that now is listed on Binance, it's something I'm really proud of. And I think the nodes are also another version of this that we see the opportunity to work with some early stage projects and want to share those opportunities with users as well. So just all around, really happy to see that some of the fundamentals in the space. I think I mentioned this yesterday. Memes, don't ask me for advice on memes. I don't think I can be helping. But with regards to the fundamental side of things, I think ourselves and our research team and our tech team are capable of reviewing some of the strong teams in the space and trying to help guide users to be prepared with opportunities, whether that be node sales to airdrops and anything in between, to be a part of these awesome projects.
Perfect. Well, we are reaching to almost 6,000 live views. Yeah, really think about, especially Calvin, the last few sentences that you talk about, right? Right now, perhaps the sentiments focus on meme token, right? Like today, I also have a bunch of meme token AMAs or spaces around across different platforms, but we really need real products, right, in our Web3 space to bring in real users and invite them to stay here for a long run. Let them see that we are true builders. We are not just, going to shield some coins to everyone and it's all air. No, it's not that. A lot of people are really working on something really good and really special, like ICN, right? Decentralizing the future. I like that slogan, and I think this is really important to let everyone know about that while we're chasing the latest news. Right? Just like Moonlight, right? Chasing the latest news and sharing it on Binance of everyone every day for over 2 years, right? We really paying attention, focus on spotlight on project teams like Impulsive Finance, right? Supporting a lot of great projects in the Web3 space, and we are also providing a lot of support. And we hope to connect with Impulsive Finance and bring more good projects to our Binance Life. Thank you, Calvin. This is definitely a great wrap up for the session today. That's amazing. Thank you.
Yes, and lots more to learn together. So appreciate it and looking forward for future AMAs. Thanks again for all the Binance Live audience as well today for listening for a whole hour of all of these interesting points from Kai and the ICN team, and also Moonlight. Thanks again for all the awesome questions.
Yeah, let's do it. Thank you. I will see you around, maybe at next space event with a different project or with ICN again. Thank you.
Sounds good. Cheers. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye. I'm going to close our backstage over here, and I am going to come back over. Yes. Right here. Everyone, we're still on Binance Life, and just want to let everyone know that, friends, other than paying attention to, just like we said, right, the super popular different meme tokens, thousands of new meme tokens, were born every day, right, if not every hour. But we still have projects like ICN, Impossible Cloud Network, who really are truly building long-term projects and really wanted to make our life better, right? Decentralized cloud service. Maybe for some people, you feel like, oh, Moonlight, it's a bit far, from us, right? Think about that. Every day while we are serving online, we actually use cloud service without our notice, right? So be a node holder, run a node, you actually contribute decentralizing the future, which is really important. And once again, I do hope everyone could go to Twitter or X and give our speakers, our projects over here, Impossible Cloud Network and Impossible Finance, a follow, because they are going to for sure bring a lot of more good products to improve our everyday life and real tech knowledge from Germany Impossible Cloud Network. Amazing. I believe we have some audience from Germany, right? Yeah, let us know in the comments. And this is Meng Lai. I'm done speaking. We will have replay available pretty soon because we wanted to introduce the project to everyone. Maybe you join us a bit late. That's okay. You can watch a replay just like our live one. Yeah. Thank you. See you around. Bye.